Welcome to our course, Managing the Flow of Work in Microsoft Teams. My name is Sarah, a training specialist here at Microsoft, and today we'll be exploring team and channel essentials for members and guests. After this session, you'll be able to join and prioritize the channels that are most important to you. You can use channels to streamline projects and operations, bringing different workflows together under one umbrella, but also focusing on what's most important to you. And you can collaborate with your team members with files and tools and services, all right from Teams. So let's jump in, let's get started. I want to begin with a couple of high-level questions. We often get this question, what's the difference between a chat and a team and channel, right? We got chat and calls on one side. Those are great for in-the-moment conversations, lightweight conversations, simple conversations. Hey, got a sec? Let me call you up right now. Maybe you want to have a sidebar conversation with people outside of your group or a smaller subset of the group. Maybe you're trying to expedite basic collaboration or expedite a project, kind of get it up off the ground before you go public with your whole group. That's where chats and calls come into play. But sometimes you just need more muscle, right? You need more structure, more management. Maybe it's a long-term project or initiative. It's more sophisticated, has more moving parts, or maybe it's daily operations. It's part of why you're here, why you're at your job. It's your marketing department or your sales cycle, your learning and development cycle, or even just a group of people that need centralized resources and documentation. Here's our HR information. Here's our IT information. A team is designed to give visibility to everybody in the team. And you can also bring together multiple work streams, workflows, if you will, under one large umbrella. People can focus, but they also have visibility on the big picture. So more muscle, more structure, that's where teams and channels come into play. Now, another question that we often get, what's the difference between a team and a channel? Right? That's a really good question. So I want you to visualize a building, maybe a house or an office building. A team is like that building itself, the actual structure. And the channels are like the rooms inside of that building. So they help us organize our different areas. So if you think about a team in terms of who has access to that building, right? It can be private or public. You have owners who can manage the settings. Maybe might call those the house rules. You can also set up members who contribute. And then together, everybody has visibility. That's a big theme about teams. People are collaborating together. But you need to be able to focus. So much like rooms help you focus in a large building, so do channels help you focus in the teams. And channels could represent subtopics or steps or phases in a larger project or process. You could have channels that represent different groups of people. And by default, every single channel is accessible. It's fully accessible to the entire group. But you can also create moderated channels or private channels that have limited access if needed. But it's a great way to help you bring together multiple workspaces, work streams under one large roof, one large umbrella, and then give people visibility, but also focus. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump in, and I've got my demo tenant set up here. I'm logged in as Adele. She's my alter ego. And I want to show you some real world examples of what you might see in a team environment, teams and channels. So here's an example of a project-based team. This could be really close to real world, right? You're rolling out a new product and you've got a project team that's involved in this. So you want to create a virtual team here that gives access to all the project stakeholders. And then you can set up channels. You'll see here, general, kudos, fun stuff. That's a channel. Project tracking, that's a channel. Sales and marketing research, that's a separate channel. Scope and design. And so you can create different channels for different elements of that larger project. So then you can focus on, let's say, scope and design, for example. Another example I like is this one called building alerts. So we'll just click on the triangle here to expand, and we'll see the channels. General, access codes, emergency preparedness. These are all channels. So building alerts would be a great team to set up if you wanted to have a public team and give everybody in your organization easy access to, let's say, weather notifications. Is there a hurricane or a tornado or something that's happening? And give people access to who's my safety captain in this time of emergency, or even safety drills, for example. You might notice that this team has a channel access code with a padlock. So this would be an example of a private channel. And private channels are islands of security. They're designed for a subset of the group, so not everybody would have access. So in this scenario, maybe the building managers or facilitators have access to the security alarm codes, for example, and they store that in the access codes channel, which is available only to a subset of folks. All right, I want to show you a couple more examples. Here's one I like called Dev and Test. This could be more like a process-based team. So in this scenario, let's say that we are rolling out new product features on a regular basis. Some of you might resonate with that kind of group. And you have all of these different roles that are coming together over that process. Each channel could represent a different role in the big picture. And then the project lead could give information through, let's say, announcements or kudos, or even a project tracking channel. So you might have business analysts who are doing customer interviews, checking out what are people looking for, setting up some proposals. You might have engineers, quality assurance testers who are trying out new features. They're using code to test features. They're tracking things. They're having regular meetings. Maybe you have someone who's involved in marketing or change management or training, and they're involved in getting the word out to the customer, putting in the voice of the customer, giving different training modules on how to take advantage of this feature. And this is an iterative process, but now you have a team and channel to help you manage that. So this is just another example, and I'll give you one more that I like. This is Adele's personal workspace. So imagine having a team that's just yours, right? So you have a space where you're working on all your stuff. And since you're using teams and channels a lot already, you could actually put it right here in your team and channel. So this is an example of a team that only has one person in it. Adele's the only person, but she can add in here links to her favorite websites, or maybe she's going to be using Planner or Tasks to do a task list and have access to what she might be using OneNote. I'm kind of a OneNote junkie myself, and that could be a way that she has access to her stuff. So instead of having it on your desktop, you can have all that information right here. So the idea is you're taking these projects, and these could be examples of things that are, again, a private group, or they could be public, or they could be huge, like 10,000 plus people, or small, like one or maybe a handful of groups. So with that said, what we're going to do is actually explore how to set up your teams and channels, how to organize them. It's very possible that you might walk into Microsoft Teams and already have a list of teams. Somebody might have added you to them and said, here's the team, just like you might be onboarded into a physical office, right? It's the same concept virtually applied. And then you can also join or create your teams at the bottom. We're going to explore how to join teams. So down below, we'll just click on this option at the bottom left corner there, and you're going to see a gallery. Now, your gallery may have lots of options. It might not have very many options. It just depends on your organization, what's available, and how they publish information. But what I'm seeing right here are a lot of public teams. So public teams are teams that you can add yourself to. You can say, oh, I want to be a part of that. So for example, here is the SharePoint user group. I'm just going to go ahead and click to join the team. So the big idea of a public team, you can add yourself to it. Now, there are also private teams. Private teams are managed by the owner, and only the owner can let you in. So you might be given a code, or your organization might let you see private teams and you click to access or request access, or maybe you're searching, or maybe simply the owner lets you in. So that's the big idea. You could also use this search feature if you don't see the team you're looking for. So for example, if I search for Acme, I'm going to see a smaller list. So those are some options in here. Now, once you have your teams in place, so these are a list of teams I've added, and you might want to organize this further. So here's my team I just added. You can drag and drop this. This is your workspace. You can organize this any way that's helpful for you. So this is a great way to just organize these as well. Another thing you may want to do, let's take a closer look here. You can hide or show your teams. So I'm clicking on the ellipsis, the 3 dots. That gives you more options or more actions. And in this case, I might want to hide a team. So in real life, you might be working on 3 to 10 teams actively, and then put the other teams maybe out of the way so that you can focus on your main projects. Adele has a lot of teams because we use her for demoing everything, so maybe more than the average person. But let's say this product rollout, let's say this project is finished. What you can do is hide it. It takes it out of our view. Let's just see what happens. So we're missing it, right? But we actually still have access to the team. We just put it out of the way. Maybe we want to come back and access that team later. Here's our product rollout. It's under your hidden teams. So you might notice here there's hidden teams. And you can actually click on the more actions menu and you can show. So you can take anything that's kind of dormant right here and bring it back into its full glory. The other option you can do, though, is you can also leave the team. So leaving the team means that you're not just putting it out of the way, you're actually removing yourself from it. So let's go ahead and leave this user group here. If you leave a team, you have to go back to the same joining process. If it's a public team, you can let yourself back in. If it's a private team, you have to walk through that process of requesting access one more time. Okay, so those are some things you can do to organize your teams. Let's go back here. And then keep in mind that the teams themselves are made up of channels. And one of the things you may want to do is prioritize your channels so you can get the information that's most relevant for you and not be overwhelmed by all the other noise. So in a team like this, it's very compact. There's only a few channels, but as I'm looking at the dev and test, wow, that's a lot of channels in there. I belong to some teams that have over 100 channels. You can have up to 200. And that's great when you want to bring lots of work streams together and give high visibility. But we want to focus on some ways to help us organize these channels. So let's check out this sales and market research. Let's say this is a really important channel to us. One of the things you're going to want to do is focus on channel notifications. So this is related to the activity alerts. Now you can go into your settings and you can set up global notifications for all your teams and channels, right? So if we went to our top right settings, notifications, you can set these up globally. So you have a benchmark. But then on each channel, click on that more options or the ellipsis, and you can set up your unique notifications per channel. That's a nice option in there. So if this is an important one, you might want to set up all activity, and you can also go to custom and do some kind of option in there. And that's just going to let you know if anything's happening. So maybe there's a new post, people are replying to your message. Maybe there are mentions. If the channel is mentioned, you want to get an activity alert as well. So you can customize that. And likewise, if a channel is maybe not part of your main wheelhouse, you can turn off the activities. You can also hide the channels. Let's take a look at what this looks like. So when you hide a channel, you'll see this list called one hidden channel. I've got some that are hidden down here. And of course, you can always click on that list, expand, and you can access it temporarily, or you can even go show that channel in your list. All right. So if I actually go ahead and hide this one more time, you'll see how it's italicized because technically I've hidden that channel, right? So I can go and click on it, and I can even show the channel as well. And then the other thing I want to point out is how you can pin channels. So there may be certain channels that have files or tasks or conversations that are very relevant to you. It's the heart and soul of your day-to-day. In fact, I have this in real life. I've got a channel that stores all the files that I use for training. So I want to make sure that I pin that. So let's say that you're part of the sales and marketing research group here. You can pin this channel and we'll see where it puts it. We'll scroll to the top. So when you pin something, it pins it to the top. You can even drag and drop this. And these can be your favorite items. This is great when you have lots of teams or lots of channels that you're trying to explore. And then, of course, you always have the option to unpin as well. So take advantage of that. The channels themselves are going to be sorted alphanumerically. There will always be a general channel at the very top. So the general channel is kind of this log, this overarching log. Sometimes it's used for announcements. Sometimes it's used simply to let people know kind of what's happening in the channel. All the other channels are going to be this alphabetical, and you don't rearrange them. But you can use special characters, like you see how there's an exclamation point. You can use special characters to affect the sort order. There's an X. I've also seen people use Z to put things at the bottom. You can also use numbers if you want to have sequential channels. So keep that in mind as well. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to take a closer look at some of the channels that we have. And I want to jump into TeamSync. So when you are working on a channel, you have lots of ways to collaborate with your folks. And we have some tabs across the top. Every single channel is going to have a posts tab. That'll be the very first tab that you have. And this will be a way that you can post conversations. Now, again, teams and channels have a little bit more muscle, a little bit more structure than chat. And as we scroll up, we're going to see that there are threaded conversations. We have these titles and maybe even some announcements. Wow, those look fun, right? These banners, those are called announcements, and they really catch your eye. They're a way to help you see what's happening. And then you can reply or expand the conversation and see the thread of what's happening, and you have options to reply. So this is what we call a threaded conversation. There's also a tab called Files. Every channel is going to have a Files tab. Files do not live in Teams. That's interesting, right? Files do not live in Teams, but Teams gives you easy access. It's your centralized hub to all your files. Your files by default, they live in SharePoint, and your team is actually backed up as a SharePoint team site collection. And each of these channels is a folder in the SharePoint document library. So what we have here in Teams is an easy way to access those files. We're going to come back to this in a moment about how we can access these files. All of the other tabs across the top, these are simply shortcuts to other files or tools that your group wants to have easy access to. So they might be meeting notes, or they might be a OneNote file, they might be a planner or task app, maybe a Power BI. And you click on the plus sign here, and there's a whole bunch of different apps. Your organization can expose you to all kinds of apps. They can limit the apps. So what you see here in this library is going to be customized by your IT admin. But these are going to be tools, and imagine your Microsoft tools, your first-party tools like Word, Excel, but then also imagine third-party tools that you might use on a regular basis and having access to them. So that could be something like YouTube or Jira Cloud or Monday.com, Trello, maybe Salesforce. You'll see these other options in there based on what's relevant for your organization. Now, if we take a quick look at a different channel like communications here, we'll see that pattern. We've got the post tab, we've got the files tab, and everything else is customized. Everything else is customized. How many tabs should you have? That's a really good question. It really just depends. A rule of thumb for web design would be 3 to 7, 3 to 10 tabs. Your organization, though, might, or your group might have its own preferences, and any extra tabs you'll just see here, like the one more. You can also click on a tab at any time, and you can remove it. Right, so don't worry about adding these in. They're just shortcuts. They're just shortcuts that let you have easy access to your content. Okay, so let's actually start by adding our own conversation. So if you want to add to the conversation, one thing you may be doing is using the reply feature, and you're adding to an existing conversation like safety report updates, and you have all these tools at the bottom, right? And you can even expand the conversation to have more tools at the top, just like in chat. Another thing you can do, though, is at the very bottom, click New Conversations. This is going to start a brand new thread. And when I start a new conversation, I do like clicking on this A paintbrush here to expand the compose box. That's going to give us more tools. And the main thing I like is just being able to add a subject. I think that helps people catch their attention, like safety updates, quarterly reports. So let's call this volunteer ops, something like that. And we're going to just put something simple like stay connected with the community. Okay. Go ahead and share that out. Now, I'm actually going to edit this. Maybe you want to add a banner. You might want to add some other elements. So let's just go ahead and edit this. We could reply. That's an option too. But I'm just going to hover, click on the ellipsis, more options, and edit. You can edit and delete your own comments, just like in chat. If you wanted to add a banner at the very top, click New Conversation and choose Announcement. Now, again, make sure that you have expanded this box here. And then you can add a picture, or you can add a color. Let's add a color here. We'll call this giving. That's a good one. And then the other thing that we want to do, let's come down here. You can also use mentions. We talked earlier about how you can be following mentions, right? So if this is a channel that's important to you, then here's how the mentions work. We can @mention the channel. The channel is called Team Sync. This is going to send an alert to people. Anyone who's following this channel is going to see an activity alert. If I want to promote this, I could even say the whole team. The team is called Northwest Team. It's a regional based team, right? And then that's going to send an alert to everybody who's part of this team. Or you can use tags. And so tags is a way of mentioning a group, a subset of the team, and giving attention. Maybe I've got a communications team here, and I'd like to have them help build out some campaigns, some brochures, publicity, that kind of thing. So I might want to tag them and say, hey, do you have any ideas for promoting this? So that's the idea of how you can check this out, promote this. We'll go ahead and send that out. And there you go. And now people can start replying. So with any of these conversations, let's go ahead and click on reply here. You may be wanting to add some files. In fact, here's one that has a file, security awareness. And you can click on the file. Once it's added, you can actually collaborate. You can collaborate real time with people. So that means at the very same time, the fancy word of that is called co-authoring. But you can also take turns. You can make some updates. People will see your changes that you've made. They can make updates as needed. This paperclip is what allows you to bring in a new file to the conversation. You can upload a file. You can also drag and drop files in. You can bring files in from OneDrive. So you might have a file that you were working on in a chat, and there's simple conversation, your sidebar, and now you want to bring that file outside of your OneDrive. You want to actually have it live now in your team and channel. So now it'll be uploaded to the SharePoint. Or maybe you've got some files that are already part of your structure here. So for example, I could take this powerful presentation. I could create a link. I don't need to re-upload the file. There is a jump button at the top. So you can click that jump button and you can go to other channels. So each of these folders represent other channels in this team. Click on the jump button again, and you can even go to other teams as needed. So depending on where those are, you can find other teams that you can then share information with people. I don't know if I have any files in here, but you get the idea of how this works and how you can set that up. And if the file is in the conversation, people can simply click on the file and work on it directly here. I think it's taking a moment here just to quickly load. We'll see the conversation on the right-hand side. And I'm actually editing it directly in Teams, but maybe you want to open it up in the desktop app. You want a little bit more muscle, you can do that. And if you want to close this view, just click close. And it'll take you right back to your main view. So there you go. And if we click on files here, again, this is a list of the files that we've uploaded to this channel. You can even drag and drop or create new files here directly. They do live in SharePoint, so you can access this behind the scenes. Here's a quick link to get to SharePoint. Your organization, your IT might even be using cloud storage portals that are outside of SharePoint, so you can use third-party tools that might be relevant to your group and have access to them. In fact, here's one that Adele set up for her Google Docs, and she just put that up there and give everybody access to that through here. And I also like the idea that we could take a file and we could easily make it a tab. We talked about tabs earlier. You make that file a tab just by using that ellipsis. Again, a tab is simply a shortcut. Think of it as a way to pin access to a favorite file or resource. And if you're done working on this, you can even remove it. So it's just a way to help the whole group. You do need to remember that everybody sees these tabs. So when you're adding these tabs, it's collaborative. That's the whole point. It's all collaborative visibility for the whole group. Okay, one last thing before I finish up, I want to just touch on meetings very quickly. And when you have meetings in here, you can set up calendar-based meetings or scheduled, and you can also set up ad hoc, let's just call you up right now. It's a meeting that's not scheduled. It's like, let's meet right now. If it's a scheduled meeting, it's going to show up on the calendar. It's going to have this purple bar that looks like a calendar icon. If it's a ad hoc meeting, it looks more like this. It's called Meet Now, and it looks like this video camera. And anybody in the team has access to the meeting. You can join it real time, or if you aren't able to attend real time, you can go back, expand the conversation, and actually watch anything that might have been recorded. Maybe there were meeting notes that were captured. You want to review those and even add to that conversation as well. Same might be true of an ad hoc meeting. Maybe, well, I wasn't there at that time, but you can go back. And that's the whole idea about Teams, is putting it all in context so people have visibility. Now, when we are learning, there's always more to learn, right? So I want to give you some last tip to help you continue learning. At the bottom left corner, you'll see this option says help, and you can check out topics and training and what's new. And there's all kinds of ways to explore. In fact, here's our topics, training, what's new again. And you're going to see some highlighted items. They might come to the front, right? It's like, oh, looks interesting. You might see something about teams and channels that you might want to explore. And you can also just type in a topic that you might be interested in. So let's type in channel notifications, if I can spell that correctly. Oh, there we go. And we talked about this a little bit earlier, but hey, here's some step-by-steps that remind us how to do it. So it's all right there built in. The best way to learn Teams is to jump in and start using it. Let me give you a couple go-do activities for you to help you continue learning. So I would recommend that you organize the teams you've joined and review your channel notifications, and then also engage your work group using channel posts, shared files, and tabs. With that, thank you for viewing. Have a wonderful day.